Welcome back to the Splinter Twins, everybody. I'm Kyle, that's Mark, and it's time for Spider Man. We might not be as excited about this set as we have other Universes Beyond set. We've got a video coming out about that. But there's new cards, and we want to talk to everybody about what our predictions for the top five are going to be.
It's not a lack of love for Spider-Man because me and you, we grew up on that 90s cartoon and it was
Mm-hmm.
so good. I mean,
Absolutely.
the animated Batman series obviously gets all the shine from the 90s, but like, I think a close second is that animated Spider-Man. It was really good. So we're going to talk about our top five cards. And just so you know, we're not out here just bullshitting. You know, we actually hold each other accountable. So when we do our Edge of Eternity set here in just a minute, we're going to do the wrap up review. We're going to show you all the cards we pick for our top five for that set and all the ones before it, so you can be like, are these jokers full of shit? And I think we're pretty good at it.
All right, what is your number five?
Do you feel me, Kyle? Can you watch out behind you? Do you feel the danger? It's Spider Sense. I hate that this is a magic card, but I love the text on this magic card because, man, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good magic card. I just think for 2 mana to be able to counter an instant sorcery or triggered ability, people sometimes, I think triggered ability is really, really, really good in a VV meta. So, like, let's just think about that being a thing. But we've seen with Tasha's Tidebiter, Tidebiter, how good just being able to say no to a triggered ability is. So don't sleep on that. But there's so many I win the game sorceries and spells flying around out there. And the fact that it just has that. And then occasionally you can do it for 1 mana. Yeah. And oh my God, what if you set up an ETB trigger so you're like happy to put it back in your hand? I think this card's cracked. I think it's a fair magic card, but I think this card is going into sideboards immediately and probably going to be a mainstay in some decks.
Surprise, Mark, twinsies. It's also my number five, everybody. This card's amazing. The only thing, everything you said
Oh,
was
you
100%
said amazing.
true.
Drink.
Oh, yep. Everything you said, spot on. I won't repeat all of it. I will say, though, the web slinging feature of it, actually a bonus in this color because of the bounce deck that's always sort of matricular around the blue, whether it's, I've seen it where's matriculated.
Matriculum?
Matriculum. It's focused around blue, and in that deck, being able to pick up a creature, sometimes a positive.
I mean, imagine Fear of Isolation, right? You wanted to pick that up anyway. Now you don't have to waste a pixie on it. And oh, by the way, I just counted your removal spell that you were pointing at it. So I like double balled you out. Like this is a good card.
My number four card is a bit of a spicy pick, Mark, but there's just something about it, and that is Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. Legendary
No, I
human
think yeah.
scientist villain. Whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus, which means you will get one per turn, but you can get up to two per turn. What do those ingenuity counters get you? Well, tap this creature and you can cast an artifact from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
And did I mention it's 1 mana? It's 1 mana. So you're just sitting there. They either remove this thing or it ticks up, and by turn 3 or 4, you're at least casting an artifact for 3 or 4. And there are some dope artifacts to be spitting out in this meta. Imagine playing Simulacrum Synthesizer for free. Like,
Yeah.
the only thing that hurts this card is it's not an artifact itself, but
Yeah.
I could easily see making room for two of, because this card is just such a problem for any deck.
Do you think this goes in the synthesizer deck?
I think it
probably
could.
doesn't.
I think it could. I think it could. But I just think that being able to cheat mana and cheat in huge artifacts for 1 mana, and
Yeah.
the fact that this card gives you inevitability is just sick. Like, it's
I
too
think
good not to see some build around potential.
it's a very low opportunity cost, right? Worst case, you're putting it in front of something that's a chump block. So that's, hey, that's not bad. And to enable it, you're just doing something you're doing anyways. It's not asking anything of you. You don't have to sink mana into it to like level it up or something. It's just draw some cards. I do think it's a good card. And we got to learn, people, when it says play things for free, as even if it looks like a bad card like old Kona, its day may come, right? Like this card may see some shine, even if it's not in synthesizer. There might be some opportunities later on down the road where you slot it in. I think it's a good card. Much like our landlords in college, I have some bad news for you. The rent is due, Kyle. It's time for my fourth pick. This like your one drop, is I think, very powerful one drop. You can talk about all the synergies with just being able to whop out an enchantment. I think that actually could be particularly good in some of these decks. But I think this is really easy to enable in this current format where there's just like a million treasure tokens and diddly creatures laying around, right? You can tap tokens, you can tap treasures, you get a lot of flexibility in here for just a 1 mana investment. I think there's so many big white decks, like your Elsipiths and stuff like that, that are just going to slot this in as just some card draw. I think it is very good, it's very powerful. I'm not sure it can see play in an Enduring Innocence builders kind of world talent, but I still think this is a very powerful card.
This card was in my honorable mentions. I think it's really good, but the thing that kept it out of my top 5 is I think it's win more. I think when your deck is going wide and you have creatures to spare to be able to tap, then you're probably better off just attacking with those things. And when this card is bad, it does stone nothing. Like it
Yeah.
sacrifices itself.
Hey, maybe
It's
you'll
not
turn that into an advantage, you know? I don't know, something.
possible, but I mean, you just think about like you're behind, you don't have a way to deal with their board, and you pull this off the top and it's just doing nothing for you. I think a Gremlin Tamer build would be really useful because you can, make some dorks, but oftentimes when you're behind in that deck, you need those dorks to either kill your opponent or stop them from killing you. The idea of tapping them doesn't seem super sweet.
Do you think the treasure piece, like not being able to just turn any old token sideways for this, do you think that's flavor or is that balance, right? Were they just like, oh, you know what? There's too many map tokens
Yeah.
and little noodly things. This would just be too easy to enable, so they just made it treasures?
I think it's both, but yeah, if you could turn nutrient blocks sideways for this or
Yeah.
stupid stuff like that, like it would get out of hand. The fact that you have a real penalty for tapping treasures because that's mana you're not spending that turn, that actually does power down the card quite a bit, and it is flavorful.
My number 3 pick is I always make my number 3. Well, I pick a lot of sweepers. I pick a lot of sweepers, and I appreciate they all can't see play. But damn, Villainous Wrath, Kyle, is a pretty good sweeper. I think this just is the black sweeper now. I think this takes out the current 5-drop in that slot and replaces it. What's that one called with the graveyard and you do
Something
the thing,
about doubt. Yeah, something like
suspicious
that. Yeah.
doubt or something. I can't remember.
You have
But
to
I think
remember all cards from Markov Manor got deleted from our brain the second we
that's
read
true.
them.
No, it's because I read the story and the spores from Selesnya or whatever. It's a dumb story. This, however, is not a dumb card. I think for 5 mana, just being able to wipe the board and make them suffer for it is really good. You don't need Black Burn or anything like this to make this a good card. It's just this could win you the game in some instances. There's a lot of go wide decks right now. We talked about Elsipith making these things happen, but do not sleep on Selesnya with all their rabbit stuff. Like that's a real deck in Best of One, and you can just body people with this, right? Like Lava Axe them. Hey, yeah, I guess I swept you, but I don't care because scoop them up, game's over. This is a really strong card. It rewards you for sweeping, right? And it really punishes them for overcommitting. I think this is a very good card.
Yeah, 1 mana is a lot more to pay for your sweeper, so you're paying 1 mana more above market value here to dome them. And there's a lot of matchups
Not in
where
black.
no, I know. I'm just saying though, if you're looking for a sweeper, but yeah, there's a lot of matchups where this card doesn't do anything. But you board it out, you do whatever. But if you're playing Best of One, I think you can reliably count on your opponent casting a bunch of creatures, even if you only hit 2 or 3. It's not like you need a lot of extra bonus to be able to do this. And then obviously in traditionally you just board it out, and that's fine. But that's the case of sweepers from now nigh unto the beginning of time. So I like it, but I just think 5 mana is a lot, and I don't know how important the exile clause is. There are a lot of decks that revolve around a single card, and being able to collect evidence and exile their VVs or their Agatha Soul Cauldron or something
Yeah.
is not nothing.
No,
And
it's
that's
huge.
just an example. Simulacrum synthesizers. There's a lot of decks that don't function nearly as well without key cards, and being able to exile those, I think probably means more than pinging your opponent for 2 or 3 or 4 in a lot of games. My number 3 card, last blue card, I swear. I
Nope,
can't.
you're wrong.
No, for me anyway. This card, Mark, it reminds
interesting
me of a friend I used to have. And
Yeah.
that friend is a lot like a lot of people's friends in that everybody hated them, but I kind of secretly liked them. That friend was Rafine, and my new friend,
Oh,
Norman Osborn.
okay.
It is a human scientist villain, legendary creature for one and a blue. Norman Osborn can't be blocked. So, in some ways, even more, uh, what's the word? Unblockable,
Annoying?
agile, evasive. There we go.
Ah,
Evasive than Rafine. And it says whenever Norman Osborn deals combat damage to a player, he connives. Which, if you don't remember what connives means, draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card that way, you put a +1/+1 counter on Norman Osborn. So just with that, you can see how this card can start to, for 2 mana, just sort of take over the game as it gets bigger and bigger. Not only is it getting bigger and bigger, though, like connive is so much better, we learned,
yes.
in than just +1/+1 counters. It is that card filtering and the option of putting a +1/+1 counter that makes that mechanic so strong. But that's not the only text on Norman Osborn. For one in Grixis, you can turn Norman Osborn into Green Goblin, a goblin human villain. Spells from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast, and then you have Goblin formula. Each non-land card in your graveyard has Mayhem. The Mayhem cost is equal to its mana cost, but remember, it's actually that -2 because of the static ability. And then that means you can cast a card from your graveyard for its Mayhem cost if you discarded a card this turn. There are a ton of ways in Grixis to be discarding cards for value, and then discarding a card for value, picking it back up from your graveyard, and then casting it for cheaper, all while you have a 3/3 flying menace that probably has counters from the conniving. This card is sick. It can
Yeah.
take over the game. And as we've seen with the Final Fantasy cards, transforming something at I believe it's at sorcery speed, right? Yeah, at sorcery speed, bit of a mana investment, but if you find your window to be able to do it, you get a super big payoff for it. This card
Yeah.
takes over games by itself.
I could imagine this like with like a Kefka at the top end. Like these two cards are kind of competing, but they're kind of doing the same wonky stuff. Like there's some options here. There's tons of good stuff with flashback, just straight vanilla flashback from your graveyard that you don't even have to enable. That could be really good just with that discount. I think it's a good card, especially because once again you hear this over and over again. It's not asking you to play. You actually do have the versatility. One thing I don't think a lot of people know, you can play Goblin straight from your hand, right? For that mana cost. You don't have to start with Norman Osborn. You can pick. So you've got modality off the top. But then if you're playing this thing on two, like we've seen how good Silent Hall Creeper can be. Like that does pop up in some standard lists from Duskworn. That just chunky damage that you're getting, I really like the connive too. I think if anything, like you can't undersell the connive. Just being able to just even if you're not getting +1s, just chucking those, it's flood proof, just chucking those lands in the garbage. Like I think this is a very good card in a specific kind of deck. Like it's not going to be everything to everybody because you probably want to have Grixis so you can maybe play that top end card. But if you are playing that color combo, I think this is a no brainer. You got to test it. That is a very good blue card, my brother, but it is not the best blue card in the set. I cannot believe people are sleeping on Hide on the Ceiling. This is a crazy card. How do you know it's crazy? Because we've seen this card before. March of Swirling Mist was such a good card. This is not, unfortunately, that good. There's no way to like boot blue cards out of your hands for a discount. But man, the things that you can do with this, the flexibility. You think about this is sweeper protection, something we desperately need in a lot of different, maybe like blue tempo decks. You want to just save your board from the sweeper, you can do that. You want to take all their blockers away, you can do that. You can also do it on their instep if you really just want to be mean about it. Then you untap and you have all your mana. But honestly, let's go Blinking, baby, because that's really where this effect shines. You can just, for 2 mana, re-enable any kind of blink effect. For 3 mana, enable 2 blink effects. Like this can really start to do powerful stuff. I'll have you look at. There's some really powerful blink decks shenanigans right now. I've been running one on the ladder, Azorius Blink. Can anybody say what's that freaky ass avatar thing? You know, when it leaves the battlefield, you get to just drop a thing on the ground for like the total mana of total value of lands you
Oh, yeah,
have.
the Eldrazi.
Yes, that card. Blink that. Okay, for 2 mana, now I just get to throw a planeswalker on the field. Like, let's just do. Oh, and by the way, he's coming right back. Like, he didn't go nowhere. He's coming right back. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. This card slots into that deck. It slots into a lot of tempo decks. I think this card is amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is a good card, but I think you're kind of making a bit of a false comparison with this and Swirling Mist, because the defining fact of that card was the fact that you could exile cards from your hand to increase its mana value. Like that's what made the card so explosive out of nowhere and allowed you just to win. I don't know where this deck is coming from that's playing a lot of ETB creatures, but it is also going to keep up 3 mana to reactivate them all. Like it's a good card, but it feels very situational.
Sorry, I wasn't able to talk to you. I had to unjinx my son. He just kept pointing at his mouth until I said his name.
It's very good.
It's not that situational though. Like I think what you're thinking of is it's actually just the opposite. It's incredibly flexible, right? You blink enable, you aggro enable, you save your own creatures, right? Like what do you want for just a cheapo card? Like in worst case scenario, let's say someone aims single target removal for 2 mana. I saved it.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And you can, I mean, it's not creatures you control, right? Is it any creatures?
No, it's anything.
Oh yeah, so I mean, being able to fog attacks, like if they just have like a super pump Tifa or something, being able to fog that is also pretty good.
Not for nothing, think Simulacrum that you can also do this with that. You can do this with artifacts. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Artifacts or creatures.
You might be onto something with this card.
I really think it's just got so much flexibility. I think it's gonna do something. I mean, currently, I don't care much about prices, but I'm not alone. This is like a $25 card right now. Like,
it's
I think people
disgusting for Commander. Like this is just Commander all day, which this set could be classified as that, but this is not that video.
Wait, this isn't a Commander set?
Well, my number 2 card will get you kicked out of the Commander pod because it's all aggro all day. Spider Punk is my number 2 card. 1 in a red, legendary creature, spider human hero. You get Riot, which is you can either get a +1/+1 or haste. Other spiders you control have Riot. That actually matters quite a bit. Spells and abilities can't be countered, and damage can't be prevented. Those last 2 lines are kind of like, they'll come up sometimes. But the fact that this card is a 2 mana haster or a 2 mana 3/2 that makes everything else in your deck, if it's a spider, a haster or bigger, this card is good for aggro. This is gonna get people dead.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that's the line that doesn't matter. I think actually the sideboard capability of not being able to counter is maybe more relevant here. In addition to just being a little 2/1 that can attack right now, I think it's really good in the control matchup. I don't really think, unless you have like a really Spider-Man heavy deck, that's the only thing that's in red. I mean, maybe, but you have to be Spider-Man aggro. Like you're going to leave the mice behind. You're going to leave everything else behind. Like you got to have all spiders, all gas to make that line matter.
I think that, yeah, I mean, like the 2 mana Gwyn is also really good for aggro. Yep. The Jeskai one there that lets you, impulse draw cards and stuff. There is a possibility that you could, it depends on the color combination, right? Like the 3 mana Miles Morales in green would go really well with like a spider aggro deck because it lets you put more +1/+1 counters on things. I don't know. You're not just limited to red with this. I see it as a 2-color card combination, but whether it's, black or green, there's enough spiders to create a stable cadre of creatures. Not to say that every creature in your deck has to be a spider, but that you are just hasting things in because this card is left on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, that is very powerful, and especially when you start thinking about, you're giving your 3 or 4 drops haste, like that can really get out of control. So I think that's good. It's just, and maybe this is just me being down kind of on standard a little bit, but it's just like, you're not playing a 3 mana aggro deck. You're probably not incentivized to play a 2 mana aggro deck. We've seen how good mono red is right now. It's like, why would you play this kind of like Spider-Man, almost like block constructed limited thing when you could just be like, I'll just have the thing that just took down the world championship. Like I'll have that right there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna, I think it's not mid-range, but I think this is a mid-range to aggro sort of bent sort of card, depending on what shell it goes into. Like green is going to take it a little bit more mid-range, white might take it a little bit more aggro, black could take it either way. I don't know what the best home for this is, but if I'm just looking at uniquely powerful cards, not knowing what the other cards and interactions are going to look like in the meta as we play them, this card just has a ton of potential.
It does so much for 2 mana. Speaking of doing so much for 2 mana, I cannot believe this was not in your top 5, Kyle. The Soul Stone.
It's my number 1, baby.
Oh, we're twinsies.
Yeah, obviously, because I know how to read Magic cards. Holy shit, this card's broken.
let's just talk about the floor of this card, because I think people are underestimating how powerful a 2 mana rock is, even in standard. And by the way, it's indestructible. So like your Ultimas won't clean it up. You can't get rid of it, right? And more
Yeah.
importantly, like when
Is
we
there
start to
anything
talk
that
about like,
exiles
yeah,
artifacts?
there's stuff you can do it, but it's not stuff that's super played.
I mean, like you can't
It's
braid it, you can't ultima it.
no.
Like, ugh.
So it's you gotta you and I think we're gonna find out the answer to that question. I think if you ask us in 2 months what exiles artifacts, we'll have a list, because I think it's gonna get warped around this. Think of like how good Virtue of Persistence is, right? And obviously like having a little sorcery speed removal spell and some life gain on the front end of that is like really good. But I would argue a 2 mana indestructible rock is as good, right? As that removal spell. And then the fact that this thing is
Oh,
just gonna
oftentimes
like,
way better.
yeah, could be way better, especially if you're playing in this like black control, which can be really strong. Throw this in
Sorry.
there with your Unholy Annex.
Let me add on that. It's way less replaceable. There's a lot of things that can
Yes.
kill things for 2 mana at instant speed. The fact, like, what are you going to do to ramp it 2 mana in black?
Oh yeah. It's like, what does turn 3 look like? Think of all the black 4-drops you could play when you just have this, right? Like that's nuts. It's kind of nuts. And let's get to the meat of the potatoes of it. It is a big investment, right? You're gonna have to pay 7 mana and sack a creature you control. Great flavor there.
Gamora, get your ass over here.
Gamora, come on over. But then just forevermore, you better be able to exile Graveyard, right? You better have something. Otherwise, you just will not keep up with this inevitability, right? What does Thanos say? I am inevitable. Like, this is pretty inevitable.
It's disgusting. It is something that gives you ramp in the early game and it gives you a game plan in the late game, and it
Yep.
just naturally flows. This is going to help you power out more and better creatures, and then if they deal with those creatures, you just have your your backup game plan on the battlefield ready to go and be like, "Oh, okay, cool, man. You got rid of my Elegy Acolyte. Let's see if you can do it again. Oh, by the way, and again every upkeep." This card is
Yeah.
disgusting. I actually hate this card because its price, what is it running for right now? Like a
It's
billion D
pretty cheap.
dollars?
No, it's only $140.
Yeah. Because it's a
Wait, hold
mana
on, hold
rock.
on. Wait, I'm watching the price update in real time. Kyle, it's actually, it says it costs however much your printer ink costs. Because what kind of fucking idiot are you? If you go buy this card, you chump. Proxies are real. Don't give them your money.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. Do
For
not buy this card.
for
Don't buy this
Commander,
card.
but like, what if this thing is a standard staple and you need it for
It will
competitive
be.
play?
It will be.
Yeah,
It
I'm
absolutely
saying it will be. So I mean, like, we're right back here in the VV situation of like, okay, I guess I better go buy 4 of these until it gets banned.
You know,
That's
we'll
why I
have
hate
we'll
it.
have a thought on that in a minute, but like I do want to say, like, when people are talking about the $800 VV deck, it like Universes Beyond is making this a problem. Like this card, not just because everyone loves Thanos and they're going to want to collect all the Infinity Stones and whatever. That's a problem, and it's causing whatever deck this goes into is going to skyrocket in price. It is a legendary artifact, so probably maybe not a 4-pack of this. You might just want a 2-pack. Especially with it being indestructible, like this is a dead draw. If you pull 2 of them, probably.
There's a lot of discard stuff that I talked about earlier that might
That's
come into
true.
play.
Yeah. So maybe some conniving and stuff like that. But you'd have to kind of think about that. I don't think this is auto 4. This is it's just so pushed because they want to sell these Spider-Man packs that it's same thing with Vivi, right? Like, how can we just make sure they're just absolute slam dunk, not standard pieces, but stuff that's so pushed, i.e. Vivi, that we can push it into Commander, we can push it into Modern, so you just can't ignore it. And that's what they did with this card as well. I fully expect this to be a problem. Maybe not on Vivi level, but that price tag sure is an indicator that a lot of people think this card's going to be very good.
Yeah.
I think it's powerful. I think this is a much more fun play experience in Vivi because, like, you can play through a Virtue of Persistence on the table without removing it. Like, you can do it. It is doable. It's. I think this is a much closer to fair than Vivi. Like, it's asking you to spend a lot and sacrifice a creature. I think it's a very good card. My main gripe with this is just the fact that it's it's a soul stone and it's $140. That's the part I don't like.
What are your top 5 cards? Let us know in the comments below. We respond to every single comment. Who got the better picks, Kyle or Mark? And then also stick around because we will have our Edge of Eternities video coming out. We'll regrade all the picks from last time, and you'll get to see all the picks we've made on a scale to let us know who's winning. Spoilers, I'm winning.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm
Conan
winning,
be jumping.
and I will continue to win. But let us know, like and subscribe if you made it this far, and we will see you guys in the next video.